Going into the fourth tiebreak game, Gelfand was in a must-win situation. He had to win to level the scores, in which case they'd go into 2 blitz games to try and decide the world title. Anand, of course, only needed a draw and he would win the match. So what would happen? Anand had the white pieces and he played a very solid opening, in fact perhaps too solid. After the game he said that perhaps he knew that he shouldn't kind of cut and run, he shouldn't play too hard for the draw, but somehow he couldn't help it. And he got quite a passive position with white. We join the game after 24 moves. It's Gelfand to move, and you can see that once again Gelfand has 2 bishops playing against bishop and knight, and in this case the 2 bishops are certainly stronger than the bishop and knight, or at least they have greater potential. The problem that the knight has in this position is that it doesn't have a good square to go to. If it finds a good square, then white should be okay. Here I felt that Gelfand should push on with a4. And the other thing that makes the bishops potentially quite strong here is that all the rooks are on the board, and if Gelfand can get a breakthrough, that could be significant. Rooks and bishops work very well together. So after a4, well, you might at some point be able to capture on b3 and penetrate with a rook, but you might also look to play a3, and putting the bishop on a1, it's not clear how good that is for white, and the pawn on a2 will often turn into a target. So, well, anyway, black has these 2 options, either taking or playing pawn to a3, and white has to take care of that. I felt that was the strongest move. Instead, Gelfand played bishop f8, and I didn't have to say I didn't like the look of this. Anand took, and now if you play rook takes, then white should draw this fairly easily. I think the position is too closed. You might just be able to play a move like f3 and completely close the position, for example, or if ever g4 comes again, you can just close the position and there seems to be no way through. So Gelfand kept a pair of rooks on the board, but suddenly black is a little bit uncoordinated. The king is in a slightly odd position in front of the bishops, and Anand exploited that with knight f3. Now remember what I said about the knight finding a square, and now it gets tricky because the knight threatens to invade into black's position. So for example, if g4, then obviously knight g5 check, and the knight should appear on e6, and that looks beautiful. Or h6, okay, that seems to hold the position, but then h4. Now if that's taken, then once again the knight finds a very good square indeed. That's all the knight needs, and now white is fine. Or g4, then the knight retreats to g1 and has a very nice route through to a square on f4, and again, well, white could easily be better in that position. And if bishop e7 tried to hold things, then rook e6 and threatening rook h6, so white is doing well. So Gelfand had to play, to kind of keep in the game, keep his chances alive, had to play king g6, which is very risky indeed, but all credit to him for having the bottle, having the guts to play that move, because the king comes up the board and it looks very shaky indeed. Anand played h3 to stop the king coming into g4. It looks very odd indeed, but there appears to be no way for white to exploit that. Okay, bishop f7 played and bishop g6, rook came back and rook e8. Now in this case, after the exchange, then things could be more favourable for black with the king in such a strong position. So Anand played bishop f6. Well, that means that if black trades, then that pawn looks very powerful indeed. So g4 came, and that makes room for the king. Check, and the king came in, so be careful. King might come all the way. Okay, knight f3 played. Now if king g2, then that looks good, followed by knight takes bishop, and there are some tactics here, of course. So Gelfand could have just come back with king g4, and that would be a draw. But of course Anand would win the title in that case. The position repeats itself. Instead, Gelfand played f4. A very brave move. Anand took it. Could have played knight g5, that's probably a good move, but Anand was playing once again very quickly, very pragmatically, and Gelfand was running very short on time. So Anand just didn't get bogged down in huge amounts of calculation. He just played simple, safe moves. King came back, and there we go. The knight is trying to find a good square. Of course, e6 would be a wonderful square. Gelfand avoided any trade and is looking finally to play a4 to open up the position. Anand played so well, so the rook comes back, defending here, defending squares along the third rank, and of course looking to plonk that knight into this glorious square on e6. King f5, attacking the bishop comes back, and now a4 and knight e6. Anand has succeeded in his aim. Of course, if he manages to take that bishop, getting opposite colour bishops, then that would be a big success. So that's why Gelfand played bishop h6, but Anand can force the exchange of this bishop off. So bishop threatened, check, you take. So now we have opposite colour bishops, but Anand still has to be careful here. You know, this potential of the passed pawn, passed pawn that can potentially run down the board. The king's a long way off. Still possibility to penetrate down the A file, so Anand has to be careful, but he found an excellent defence, and once again he found it very, very quickly indeed. Bishop f6, good move. The idea is bishop e7 to attack the weak pawn on d6. Gelfand played rook a7, and after this, okay, it's still possibly a threat to play here. Bishop e4, and now bishop h4, excellent move. Switching to this diagonal, knocking back the king, hitting d6, and after this, well, I didn't think Anand could lose this position, but Gelfand kept trying. The rook came back, f3, driving the bishop to a very poor square indeed. Anand was playing very well, and he can even trap that bishop on a good day, but Gelfand managed to free it with this move. Good move. And king f4, so still a little bit tricky, but now an excellent simplification by Anand. The rook is on prise. He wants to take that bishop, so he played bishop g5 check. King must take, and now king takes b1. Now we're going to get a draw. After king here, Anand took no chances. He didn't even try to hang on to this extra pawn. He simply played rook e6, and after king here, king b2. And that position really is a draw. The rook is tied to defending the pawn on d6. You can't attack this one. The king cannot break through. White cannot lose, so they agreed a draw. Anand won the tiebreak by 2.5, 1.5, and retains his world title. So congratulations to Viswanathan Anand. I think he deserved it. In the tiebreak, he played so quickly and so confidently, and even if there were errors along the way, he got away with it. Gelfand just couldn't match his fluency. There we go. Thank you for joining me in these video clips, these summaries throughout the championship. I'm going to keep posting on my YouTube channel, so please do subscribe if you like what I do, and hopefully I shall see you soon.